Hello everyone and welcome. Today I wanted to show off the old orbiter and just some tips for beginners for anyone who is maybe unfamiliar with their ship or doesn't really know what everything does. I thought I could take some time to point out each of the areas of the ship and what you can expect to do in them. This video also serves as kind of like a memorial because the footage that I captured is really old. So this was actually before the old orbiter update. So we're starting off in the navigation menu, and here you can choose planets and missions. Down at the bottom you've got your resources, and up at the top you have special events that are going on. This is pretty much going to be your main console, and where you check everything out is right here at the navigation. Right behind your navigation panel is going to be your codex on the left and the marketplace on the right. The codex is mainly used for keeping track of your collections and everything that you own, as well as looking stuff up. And the marketplace is going to be where you buy things, whether it's with plat or if you want to buy blueprints. So as you scroll through the marketplace, you can find all kinds of weapons. You can usually click on a weapon and purchase the blueprint, and it'll tell you everything that you need to build it, as well as the MR rank required for you to use it. A lot of these you can buy with just credits, so there is a couple options that you can check just to get the credits only options, but you can pretty much find every weapon in here if you do want to buy them with platinum. I wouldn't really recommend doing this unless you're having trouble completing a weapon, or it's just not dropping for you, or you just don't want to farm it. Then I would go ahead and buy it. Otherwise, I'd mostly try to farm all the weapons that you want. If you head away from the cockpit and down into the main area, over here to the left is your mod bench. Mods are one of the key things in Warframe. Obviously, this is for absolute beginners. Mods help to improve your weapons, your Warframes, and your companions. You can level up mods if you select just one of them. It costs credits and endo. So when you're doing this, just be wary of how much credits and endo you have. There are lots of duplicate mods sometimes, so you can always dissolve those for credits or endo if you need them. You can also transmute for mods. I would not do this if I were you. Transmuting almost always gives you virtually nothing, so I think it's always better to sell them or just turn them into endo rather than transmute them. On the right hand side of the mod bench is your Itan Treasures. These are worth a lot of endo, and they're worth even more if you fill them, so make sure you fill them and then you can take them to Maru's Bazaar to trade them in for endo. Over here on the right is your foundry. This is where you're going to be crafting new weapons, but basically everything you craft in the game is made right here at the foundry. There's a ton of different things that you can craft in it, so I would really take your time looking through it, but for the most part you're going to be crafting weapons, new warframes, skins, things like that here. Whenever you have a blueprint for something you want to build, you can always see the items it's going to require beforehand and how long it's going to take to build. So be careful on how long your build times are. Sometimes they take a little bit longer, and you can rush them with platinum if you need to. I'd always recommend you save your platinum unless you're absolutely sure you know what you're doing with it. Again, over on the left we come to the Incubator. This requires an Incubator upgrade segment in order to start working. You get it from the Howl of the Kubro quest, and it's where you can breed companions like Kubros and Kavats. A lot of different Kubros give a lot of different abilities, but you can only hold one at a time, so it's a little bit annoying to take them in and out. Over here is just a little display area for your Sentinel companion. There are lots of different kinds of companions, and each one usually fills a very specific role, so try to choose whatever you think would be best, or you can just choose something like Carrier if you want something nice and neutral. This here is our arsenal, and starting from the top it lets you select which warframes and weapons you want to equip. It also lets you upgrade your warframes using those mods from the workbench, and with arcanes if you have any, but upgrading your warframes with mods is usually the best way to make them stronger. So you can swap out any warframe that you own. If you do have some platinum to spare, buying warframe slots or weapon slots are things that I would do first. So here you can see me coming back over to the foundry, and I'm just going to claim some things that I've already built. Buying new warframe slots and weapon slots does cost platinum, so be sure you save your platinum for things like this. You might go into the marketplace and see somebody selling things for lots of platinum, and you might think, hey, I want to buy that. But if you do have some platinum, I would tend to save them for warframe and weapon slots so that you're able to build up a bunch of options in your arsenal. The main way you level up your mastery rank in Warframe is by leveling up weapons or warframes that you haven't leveled up yet. Most weapons and warframes can be leveled up to level 30. So here you'll see me claim a warframe, a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, and a melee weapon. Ideally, you want to be having all 4 of these leveling up at the same time, and a companion or a sentinel if possible. When you start off in the beginning, you want to start farming new components for warframes and weapons, and you want to make these weapons and warframes and equip them and level them up so that you can raise your mastery rank. And every time you raise your mastery rank, you get the ability to unlock new stuff. So right now I'm just going to claim a sentinel, and then I'm going to head right back over to the arsenal and take all that stuff that I've claimed from my foundry and equip it so that I can start using it to gain more mastery rank. When you equip this stuff, it's important to read the abilities and know what warframe does what role best and what you can expect with your warframe. So right now I'm just going to throw on some basic equipment that I haven't leveled up yet, and then I'm going to mod it so that I can get improved damages or abilities with it. And then after I've put on all my weapons and my armor and a new sentinel, then I'm gonna mod it out and then maybe take it into battle. So again, if you don't have a lot of platinum to work with, or you're just starting out, I really would spend your platinum on more slots so that you can hold more things, because these things will give you options, and the more options you have, the better prepared you can come to missions that you might be finding difficult. Right here I'm going to start upgrading this atlas that I just equipped. I'm just going to put on the very basic mods that you get right at the beginning of the game. You should be familiar with a lot of these mods if you're just starting out, and you should hopefully have a copy of them if you're at least MR5 or something like that. So you'll notice that when I put these mods in, if you match the mod to the polarity slot correctly, it costs half as much. Making sure that you match these polarity slots is really crucial because it'll help you fit as many mods as possible onto your warframe and really allow you to take control of your build better. So I've put in Vitality, Stretch, Intensify, and Continuity just for some basic stat increases like health and duration, and unfortunately I've run out of capacity on my warframe. So the top mod slot is actually an aura mod, and this mod does not cost capacity but instead gives you capacity. So when you can, match the polarity of your aura mod and you gain more capacity so you can put in more mods and really outfit things better. When you're first getting started, a setup like this is pretty much what I would use. Just go for basic small increases for the warframe until you know how you're building or what your goal with the warframe is. It never hurts to have just a basic setup like this where you have more energy, more health, a little bit of everything to work with. And as you get better, you can start filling in more specified roles. Up here is arcanes. They're a little bit towards the end game, but if you get any, just throw them up in there. So this is a weapon instead of a warframe. So the things you want to focus on weapons is increasing your damage or increasing your critical strike chance or your critical strike multiplier. So right here I'm going to slap in a couple mods, just a couple cheap ones, to give me increased damage and increased critical chance. So again, it's really important to make sure you match the polarities of these slots. Down here you can see I have a V polarity, and I just grab this mod and I put it in, and it gets the cost reduced by half. So by putting it into the correct slot, it only costs 7 instead of 14, which allows me to fit quite a few more mods. So right here I throw on a damage mod, I throw on a multi-shot mod, and then I have a fire rate and multi-shot mod. And by putting them in the correct slots, I'm able to fit even more than I would be able to fit normally. When you're first starting out, the best things to aim for are usually damage, multi-shot, things like that. So melee weapons, like warframes, have an aura mod, but in this case it's called a stance mod. So you have to make sure that your stance polarity matches, and every different stance has different combos. That's a little bit more towards the late game, but just know that different stances have different combos. Again, I'm just matching up the polarities so that I can fit as many mods as possible. And right here, if you're early on starting out, just using 3 gladiator mods is usually a pretty good idea. These gladiator mods tend to increase good stats like attack speed and crit chance and combo duration, while also having a secondary effect for equipping all 3 of them. So I think it's very good to equip the gladiator mods if you're just starting out, and then just try to match whatever you can to your polarities and include what you think would be better for your stuff. Down here is the companion. Every companion has its own unique mods to put in. All of them usually have some kind of attack mod and then some kind of backup ability based on what they are. This one's Death Cube, so it's a very aggressive companion. Right here I'm putting in primed regen and improved health. Obviously this is a fighting companion. If you don't have enough mod capacity and you try to put a mod in, it'll just blink red like that. So again, I'm just putting in some basic mods and I'm trying to match the mods to the correct polarities. Over here to the right I put in Vacuum, which is a really good one. I think everybody should be using Vacuum. And I actually took out my top rank Animal Instinct for a lower rank of Animal Instinct so I could fit a more diverse set of mods. But obviously just try to use the mods that work right for you. Here I swap out for Shield Charger. I think it might be better. For some people prefer the loot radar, some people prefer shields, health, things like that. Your Sentinel's weapon and your primary weapon share mods at the same time. So you can see the serration is grayed out. It means that I'm using it on my primary weapon. So sometimes it's useful just to have a couple of copies. You can see here I have 2 copies of Hellfire and Infected Clip just to throw on some damage mods on my Death Machine rifle. This is the weapon of the companion. So as long as I have these mods equipped on my primary, I cannot use them on the secondary. Sometimes it might be good to have multiple levels of these mods, or multiple mods just to prevent that from happening. So yeah, that's equipment and mods. I'm going to head over to this spot right here, which is Void Relics. Void Relics are the primary way that you acquire new Warframes and weapons. So these are the relics. They all have different drops, and they mostly drop prime parts from these relics. They all have different eras, and I select one relic and I refine it here just to show you that that's a thing that you can do if you want better chances at higher end loot. Overall, if you're just getting started, I just use the base relics. So over here is your quarters. It's where you can hang out, decorate your own private little cabin if you want. On the left is a special room to remove cysts. So it only works on Warframes that have cysts on them. It's a little bit of a late game thing, so I wouldn't worry about it. Back here is your operator. If you've completed the operator quest, here is where you can mess around with your focus schools and upgrade those. Those are really helpful for operator modes, so I'd take a look at them at some point. Right here at the end, I'm just going to show you how you can change the way that your ship looks, and also this is just a menu where you can select anything and it'll fast travel you directly to it, so it makes it easier to navigate your ship if you're having trouble finding something. But if you want to change the way that your ship looks, so if you want to fast travel anywhere in your ship, you can just open up this menu. You can click Inventory to browse your items, or you can click one of these, Arsenal or Foundry, to fast travel directly to it and open up the menu for it. So the last fun thing I'm going to show you here is if you click Equipment in Orbiter, this is actually where you can change the way that your ship looks. So if you want to change the color scheme of your ship, or maybe throw down some decorations that you've picked up, let's go with the color scheme for right now. Right now you can see I'm rocking a red primary and some other colors. If you just hit random, it'll select just random colors, or if you prefer to tone your ship to the color that you want, you could maybe select a color from the palette like blue or black or something like that. But this is how you can change the interior of your ship if you don't like the way that it looks.